All right, let's be real. Most of you go to Disney World or any vacation for that matter with a game plan that makes zero sense. You pack your food scale, you log every churro bite, you set a 5 a.m. workout alarm, only to crash, burn, and end up face first in a funnel cake by day two. Spoiler alert, that doesn't work. In this episode, we're going to cut through the Disney diet delusions. No, you don't need to find the macro friendly turkey leg stand. And no, you do not have to do push ups in line for the rides unless you want to. We're breaking down how to actually enjoy the magic without sabotaging your progress or becoming the person melting down in the middle of Epcot because you can't figure out what country you want to eat in and how it's going to fit your macros. So buckle up, make sure the strap's on real tight, do that double finger thingy that they do in the lines at Disney. We are going to go for a ride. So welcome to the Busy Bariatric Podcast. This is the podcast where we cut the BS, build real habits, and stop pretending we're going to track our macros at the Magic Kingdom. If you want results without ruining your vacation or your sanity, you're in the right place. So let's get into what we can do and how we can do it. This is such a weird recording to do because I went 20 years without going to Disney World. Prior to bariatric surgery, I actually avoided amusement parks because at my biggest size, I took my oldest daughter, Allie, to Storybook Land, which was this it's like a kid's amusement park if everyone gets it, like nowhere near the size of Disney World. Think of like 1/20th of that size. And all the rides are built for really like kids from like 5 to 10 and their parents. Like the roller coaster is this gentle, like it goes 2 miles an hour. The problem was I got kicked off most of those rides. So I had this weird fear and aversion of going on rides, especially after bariatric surgery or before bariatric surgery. And I remember getting kicked off and my daughter going, if my dad can't go on, I don't want to go on either. And that absolutely broke my heart. So when we finally got out of debt last year and I had maintained my weight for about the last 4 years, we finally decided this is the best time. We're going to do it right. We're going to take the kids to Disney World. We went, I scheduled gym workouts, I Instacarted food to the condo that we stayed at, and I did my best to stay on point while getting everything together. And I realized about 3 or 4 days in, I was exhausted trying to get like a 5 a.m. workout in before spending the entire day at the Magic Kingdom and then being able to rinse and repeat and do it again for 3 days straight was absolutely bananas. In hindsight, like I did love going to the gym and I probably didn't need to go like 4 or 5 days out of a 7 day week. I probably could have just scaled back to three, but I got the chance to redo it again because I got selected to be a chaperone on our kids' senior class trip. So obviously that's a little bit different, but to chaperone for the class trip, to give you an idea, it's a long group of days. So this is where we get into like the story time part of it. Essentially, we checked bags in Wednesday night from like 6 to 8. And then we had the kids meet us at school at 2 a.m. We took a bus from school to the airport. We got there at about 4. Our flight was at about 5:30. We touched down in Orlando at about 7:30, and we hit Universal by about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then we pretty much told the kids, like, you're going to come back at 8:30 at night and do that. I had a couple snacks that I brought on the plane and a couple of snacks for the week, but in reality, I realized like the approach that got me to the last point wasn't going to work on this one. So what I kind of did very differently on this one was I took the approach of like, I'm not going to try to fit anything in, but I am going to try to dial in where I can and enjoy what I could. Give you an idea, I'm also getting ready for Just Be You, which is coming up in about 2 weeks. So I am in the middle of a cut and my numbers were looking good going into the trip. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose my progress while also still kind of enjoying everything. So back to Universal Orlando. We get there for the first day, and Voodoo Donuts is in City Walk, which is right outside where they dropped us off. And I essentially had the Memphis Mafia. They put the calorie count on it, and it is 1,978 calories for the entire thing. It is like the size of a manhole cover. It was phenomenal. I don't want to take away from that. It was awesome. But starting your day off at 2,000 calories down when you don't have 2,000 calories a day on our cut, I'm at about 1,900 per day, meant that like I already shot my macros out of the water. So I could have either taken the approach of like, hey, I'm way over on my macros. I'm not going to do this vacation. I'm just going to derail and do everything. In reality, what I kind of did was the sugar rush from that was enough. I pretty much slugged water and did not feel even hungry till around 2, and then got like some basic lunch that I don't even remember now in hindsight, but kind of got a 25,000 step goal in that day, and then also had a Simpsons donut in the afternoon. Oh, that's right. I went double donut. So not even close to my protein goal. Carbs and fats way out of the water. Got a crusty burger as well. So like I'm probably hitting about 3 to 4K calories on that day and not really feeling that well. We get the kids back on the bus. We have to check them into their rooms, and then they get 10 p.m. pizza. And I had about half a Domino's pizza. So if you're scoring at home, like my calories and fats are way out of the water and kind of just couldn't do anything. We stayed at All Star Resorts for the rest of the trip. And I kind of did this approach of just, I'm going to have the heartiest breakfast they had. They had like an avocado bowl with tater tots, eggs, avocado, everything else. I didn't adjust the bowl at all. I didn't even try to track it. But I had that, 2 cups of coffee every morning, didn't try to put protein in that either. And then out of our hospitality tray, I just stole 2 apples and decided I was going to have 2 walking around apples. Lunch, I did the best salad that I could find in the Magic Kingdom, did dressing on the side, and then really for dinner, if we had a signature dinner experience, we did that. And then I kind of just had popcorn throughout the. If you're trying to track this at home, just know that I didn't at all. And there's a reason why I didn't. I kind of took an approach of like, let me just relax, let me just enjoy, let me kind of do this and eat a little bit intuitively. Keep in mind also, I had to do a pool day where I would have my shirt off in front of the kids. So I didn't really want to show up too bloated. But having about 2 apples a day, a salad, a banana here and there, and then finding like a high protein bowl, and then really going like halves or even eighths on like funnel cake, the Dole Whips, and everything else. I kind of took an approach of like, look, why don't we split into eighths as chaperones? We all get a bite, and then we don't have to worry about too much. And then using the popcorn as like just a walking around carb while we got everything did a pretty good job of keeping me full while still trying to have everything, while also not having an idea of like, how am I going to track all this? I also, because Magic Kingdom was the second day, I forgot I got the massive Mickey cookie, which I really like. The gingerbread one in Christmas is phenomenal, but I kind of, they don't have the gingerbread Christmas one. So I got like a Snickers, a cookie, which was fine. It was good, not great. Would I do it again? Probably, because I'm dumb like that and I like my Mickey cookie. Point I'm making of all this is like finding a level of balance is going to be the best trick to really make sure that you can just kind of enjoy your time at the park. Here's the other thing. I really was dialed in right up until the day of the trip. I kind of take an approach of I looked at March as a whole and realized that like I don't really have much going on after the Super Bowl where the Eagles won and was amazing. I really could lock in till about March 20th, which was when the trip was. I'm terrible on dates, but essentially I had 30 days to lock in. So I eliminated alcohol, I eliminated snacking, or I shouldn't say snacking, I eliminated grazing. And there is a difference with that. I got very intentional on the snacks or added a fourth meal as needed, and then kind of made sure that I stayed within my macros because I knew I didn't necessarily want to track or do anything. As I got into Disney World, I was 229. I followed this formula. Epcot, I ate like a bite of everything around the parks while still getting popcorn. But by like day 3, I should also mention that like my body started to crave vegetables. We're doing a challenge in Busy Bariatrics right now where Ashley, one of our alumni clients, is leading a challenge of, hey, let's all commit to eating a vegetable a day and just sharing what we had. There were bonus points if you put a pic into the chat, and that was a nice little add-on of like, let me see you actually eating these foods and putting some proof to the pudding. And it allowed everyone to kind of show what we're having and what we're doing. And by building that habit, by like day 3, my body was like craving vegetables. So by Magic Kingdom night, with all that dining, I kind of needed like a salad. So I just had a salad for dinner. Epcot, they had these like garden wraps, which was essentially like vegetables on a whole wheat tortilla. And that was right as we got into the park. And I was like, I'm absolutely doing this. And then I rode Guardians of the Galaxy. And then I pretty much ate myself around Epcot. And I think I doubled down in Canada with their sirloin steak tips. And then France, I definitely doubled down. And I think we hit the line twice where they had like this creme brulee donut, which was sugar, fire frosting, and a donut. So if you know me, you know I'm getting that. And I had half the first time. I went to the person who I was going halves and splitsies with. I was like, would you do that again? They were like, absolutely. And we had the hazelnut cake as well. What I'm trying to preach about this, especially after bariatric surgery, is I can kind of go through how I did this day after day after day. If you build the patterns, habits, and behaviors that will get you the results you need, your body eventually craves and rejects a couple of these things. But it also allowed me to enjoy and savor like 3 to 5 items a day in proper moderation. By day 4, so we did Epcot day 3. Day 4 was Universal Studios. I rode Rise of the Resistance like 4 times. I drank a boatload of coffee. And then we had like Lightning Pass for Avatar that night in Animal Kingdom. And by that point, again, I needed a vegetable. Magic Kingdom, I ate like the Ronto wrap, which was kind of high protein, but I don't know. It looked kind of proteinish. But again, not tracking that, not trying to find macros. It was the Star Wars food that had the most protein looking thing. And I wanted to eat Star Wars stuff because I didn't get a chance to do that, to try the eatery when we were there for Christmas with our kids. We ate in the cantina for dinner that night. Again, no regrets on that either. Had an awesome time. Point I'm trying to make with this is like, I really did not think too food focused. I let my body drive me. So anyway, we're at the Avatar ride. Pretty much get this massive like veggie chicken beef bowl. And not only was it delicious, I didn't need dressing for it because I do it on the side. Had like 4 forkfuls, was like, this is phenomenal. It was right outside the Avatar ride. Did that, rinsed and repeated it the next day when we went to the Animal Kingdom, because I was like, this is kind of the perfect lunch before we get on the plane. I literally had a spicy chicken sandwich and a bacon burger because I was like, I'm not going to eat again until 2 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't. Then I came right back the next day. I didn't weigh in the next day. This was really important. I had already had meals planned and prepped out from Nutray, which is the meal prep company we recommend to our clients. So I had put into my order that was coming that week to have extra breakfasts because I wouldn't have time to prep the rest of that week out for breakfast. And I had like their turkey egg sausage scramble, which was perfect. One of their lunches, which I think I had like the filet, but the fries that came with it because I still wanted more fries. And then for dinner, I think we ate as a family and I can't even remember, but essentially got right back into my macros, came back the following day, weighed exactly the same, body fat exactly the same. Ate literally everything I wanted for 5 days, incorporated some fruits and vegetables, and got everything done. The reason that I'm sharing this for you is that if I just packed my meal prep like chicken and tracked every bite, I would have been miserable through the entire trip. If I was trying to figure out the caloric content of like, I had 3 bites of funnel cake in Universal Studios or not Universal Studios. The funnel cake was Magic Kingdom, and like 2 spoonfuls of the Dole Whip. I would have gone bananas. Hollywood Studios, I also had like their brownie sundae. The more I keep thinking about it, I ate ridiculously. And I'm sharing that because when you kind of build a lifestyle where you have like template eating in place, you kind of know what you need, but your body knows what you need, and you actually end up craving vegetables. This allowed me to have all the foods that I wanted, eat incredibly well, not work out or even worry about it because I just said I'm going to focus on going to bed right when we got done bed checks, which was like 11:30 every night, which meant like by the time I settled in with my bunkmate Mike, because teachers share rooms with other teachers and Mike is my companion, he is the best. But we would kind of recap the day, but we had the understanding like lights out by 12 because we had to be up at 6:30. So got the best sleep we could, rinsed and repeated, and did it over again. And this really allowed me to just be fully present. I got to see my seniors on the rides and at different parts in the parks. I danced for my school's Instagram page, and that went semi-viral. And the kids still talk about it. But like that's what it's about. Like making memories, having fun, trying all the foods that you like. But a lot of that came from the fact that I've gotten to a place after bariatric surgery where I was locked in for about 5 weeks beforehand, and I locked right back in afterwards, and then went right back to what I needed to do. That is the goal of how we coach it through Busy Bariatrics. If you are a first year post op, obviously treating Disney World might be a little different. It might also be some time to reframe what you eat about. But as you get into maintenance or you get within the year part, you kind of have to figure out where do you want to be and where do you want your numbers to be. And allowing you to have that experience allowed me to have everything work. So next step that I would say is like figuring out what works for you. Usually I get about 10,000 steps a day. I was averaging about 25,000 steps a day. So I'm getting about 2.5 times my step output. And that's probably enough to just keep me going. And if I really wanted to lean out or dial in, I probably could have even lost weight on my trip. But I kind of knew what my non-negotiables were. I was going to have a piece of fruit every day, try to get 2 vegetables wherever I could within the park, and then really have like one solid meal that had the most protein forward option possible. You do the best you can and you work with that. It's also picking the treats that actually matter. There were some that other people got when we were in Epcot where it's like, trying to think, like there was like chips and guac, and I was like, it's probably just okay chips and guac. I had like a little nibble of the guac, but at the same time I was like, they had birria tacos that looked amazingly better, and I went halves on a 3 sampler. So there was like a chicken, a beef, a birria, and me and one other teacher did splitsies on those, and we did half, and I skipped the rice and beans, not because carbs are bad, but like I wanted to eat around the other things in the park. So again, pick the foods that you like. Rice and beans, not really going to do it. And I love popcorn. So even having the popcorn bucket for 250 refills, we loaded that sucker up, I want to say 2 times a day. And last day on Animal Kingdom, I think we hit about 4 on the sheer thing. Other part of it, don't be dumb. Like, if you were in a fat loss stage and you were really committing to a fat loss stage, maybe this isn't the time to do a day trip to Disney World if you're more of a day tripper. Or if this is like a once in a lifetime trip, don't plan to be in a fat loss phase for those days. Have a plan more similar to what I have. I don't go to Disney that often. I'm not guaranteed I get to go back as a chaperone. Like for some teachers, they go 20 years in between trips. So the fact that I got to go twice within 3 months is incredibly rare. But it also reflects the fact that like I have other goals coming up. I get this opportunity to do it. So I took the approach of the foods that I did want to have in Disney, I absolutely had in a portion that allowed me to taste it and try it. Foods that I didn't eat in Disney, like I didn't really need, and I went from there. Also, other caveat, like don't try to force workouts. Like there was a point where I was mentally thinking like, okay, we have a rental car. I can ask my principal if I can borrow the rental car. I could go to the gym, and I could either go at like 4:30 in the morning and get back for 6:30 bed, like wake up bed checks. But then I'm giving myself like 3 hours of sleep, and I'm just going to be exhausted if I have to do all of that. That really wasn't going to fly. Then I was like, okay, other option. I could get into the park. I could go back. I could take the bus back to the hotel. I could get the rental car. I could take the rental car to the gym. I could go to the gym, come back, shower, and then meet at the end of the day. And it's like, well, how good of a gym workout am I actually going to do? And when I started to do the math, bus rides, getting the car, going through everything, probably going to take me about 4 hours total. Why am I losing 4 hours of the park that I'm paying money for and I'm doing everything? Could I have done push-ups and squats and everything in the lines for Tron and the bigger lines? Yes, I absolutely could have. What ended up happening, and this was actually really cool, we were in line for Pirates, and I made a stupid mistake. The person next to me, which was my travel buddy, was like, is this one of those rides you get wet on? It's been a minute since I've been on it. I was like, I went on before. Only a moron gets wet on Pirates. I then proceeded to sit in the front right-hand part of the boat and got soaked in my shorts and all the fun parts. Anywho, back to the point, I'm squirreling out here. Anywho, We're in line for Pirates. It's a long enough line. There's enough like grips and levers that people started like I kind of gripped a cannon up that was hanging up top and just did like an arm stretch and worked my lower back and did like small rotations. Three other teachers was like, oh my God, that looks amazing. Let me try that as well. And then we all started just stretching and working out our bodies in line. And I think when you're standing a lot more than you probably are, walking a lot more than you probably are, focus on recovery, like just doing gentle stretches in the lines, as opposed to like, okay, I'm going to do burpees in line. First off, looks totally weird. Second, like just yoga stretches are a great way to do it. So the final part that I want to say is like, look, if you were dealing with the mind part around food of I have good days and bad days, this is a time to really reflect as to why we need to change those patterns. And that'll be a whole episode that we have dropping soon. So stay tuned for it. But the idea was like, look, I'm not going to be completely off. I'm not going to be completely on. I'm going to work within a budget. It's why like I do like tracking macros for everyday life, but also understanding that when life happens, is this a happens every weekend sort of thing? Is this happens once a month sort of thing? Is this happens once in a lifetime sort of thing? For me, it was kind of like a little bit of both of this happened twice in the span of 3 months. So I attacked it this way. I came back knowing that the scale did not budge. And I really do know, like, if I get picked to chaperone next time, I'm not even going to try to go to the gym. I really am going to follow this format because it allowed me to be fully present with my staff and the students while also getting everything together. If you are doing this or you're a Disney person, I would love if you either share in the comments, message me, DM me, what is like your favorite tips for eating and getting movement in when you're in Disney, or give me your biggest Disney eating fail. Like it could be something as simple as like, hey, I tried this food, it was not worth it. Or B, like I really tried to track and I realized I had like a Memphis Mafia donut from Voodoo Donuts and I blew my macros out of the park on day one and realized that wasn't going to work. I want to hear it. Comment or DM me. Instagram's probably the best way to do it. But let me know, what is your biggest struggle when it comes to navigating vacations? And I have a resource guide of how you can crush vacations with kind of what we talked about it. We also offer free clarity calls so you can really get on and get a feel for that. And hopefully this gives you an idea of just how you can kind of do this. Also, like if you like these interruptions from when we're doing our themes in the podcast, let me know too. I'm thinking like maybe just monthly updates of here's what I did, here's how I'm managing my nutrition after bariatric surgery or anything else, or just share some feedback. I always like to hear that. Anywho, next episode, we are getting right back to our nutrition series that we are doing. And I am so excited. We have Chelsea Bernandez. She is one of the lead dietitians of the tribe. She spoke at summer camp last year and did a phenomenal job on hormones and gut health and then recovery and how to plate. This podcast episode, we break down everything you need to know about fats and why you should not be eliminating them after bariatric surgery, as well as why you need them to thrive. Plus, Chelsea, like, I don't know if it's that 95 corridor part. She is a New Yorker. So we kind of banter a little bit back and forth, and we go over how many Reese cups it would probably take to hit my protein goal and why I shouldn't do that. And not even from a macro perspective, but more of a digestive perspective. So if you want to hear that, I'm going to be teasing it throughout this week and next week for it, but it was really good. But if you are listening to this, please know if you want more from our content, please go ahead and hit subscribe on either our YouTube page or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you like this episode, the best way that you can support the show is by leaving a 5-star rating or review, or screenshotting a picture of this episode, sharing it to your stories with a link in, or just messaging me like, hey, it really resonated, and letting me share that as a testimonial. But if you do leave a review, every week we're going to be giving away one free product from our sponsors and announcing the winner on our Friday email list. So be sure to subscribe there as well. As always, keep getting busy and hope to hear from you soon. Bye.